What's going on, guys? So, following the news of the Epstein files dropping, and still, after all of the redactions and the very minimal amount that they actually released, Trump was still exposed in the Epstein files. Following the news of Susie Wiles doing that expose with Vanity Fair, in which she threw pretty much every member of the administration under the bus. Following the worst polling that Trump has seen pretty much ever in his presidency outside of January 6th, where he's now sitting at like 36 and 37% approval rating. Donnie Boy goes, "What can I do to right the ship? What do? I know. I'll retreat to my safe space and I'll go do a rally." So, I'm going to talk about some of the ridiculous things that he discussed during his rally. You guys are going to do me a huge favor. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Guys, it only takes you 2 seconds. It's completely free. YouTube doesn't tend to prefer this kind of content, especially political content. So the only way that you can actually grow the channels like this is by hitting the like button and subscribing and telling the algorithm to push this out to more people. Okay. Let's get into it. So Trump spent a good amount of time talking about drug prices and the pharmaceutical industry during this rally. And he, yet again, trots out this ridiculous talking point that he cut drug prices by 300, 400, 500, sometimes even 600%. Here, let's take a look and then I'll talk about that.
Only hours ago, I left a meeting at the White House where we cut the cost of prescription drugs by 300, 400, 500, and even 600%. And I'm doing what no politician of either party has ever done before, standing up to the special interests and demanding lower prices for the American people. This is what we're doing.
Okay, guys, this is not possible. You cannot cut drug prices by more than 100%. Otherwise, it would mean that the drug companies are actually paying people to take their drugs. Okay, so not possible. You can't do it mathematically. He still goes out there and trots this out as like a great achievement, and all of his supporters are sitting there doing they're clapping like seals, like this is a real thing. Okay, it's not real. He didn't cut drug prices by 300% or 500% or whatever he says. That's not a thing. The other funny part is him saying that he's standing up to the special interest. He's not. Trump is the most corrupt president that we've ever had, and it's not even close. And he's completely bought and owned by industry. That's why he gives pardons to people like crypto billionaires who were like defrauding their own customers. That's why he pardons, who was the guy that he pardoned? I can't remember, but like he was literally like running a retirement home or something like that and stealing a bunch of money from them. And then he pardoned that guy. So it's completely ridiculous that he pardons people and then has the audacity to go out and say, "I stand up to special interest." Completely ridiculous. Next, we have him talking about Sleepy Joe Biden. Obviously, this one is really funny because of how many times Trump has fallen asleep just this year. I mean, I think it's like now that we've seen recordings at least like 6 times or 7 times on camera that Trump is falling asleep in his own meetings. So here, let's take a look.
And no president did anything about it. Sleepy Joe Biden didn't know he was alive. The last thing he cared about was this. He didn't care about anything. Just wanted to make it through. But they cheated. Look, he was surrounded by radical left. Hey, did you see on Mar-a-Lago, did you see how corrupt that was now? It's all come out. Wow. It's all come out. Some life.
Guys, Trump literally just the other day fell asleep when they were doing this meeting talking about how they're rescheduling marijuana from Schedule 1 to like Schedule 3. He just fell asleep, okay? And he has the audacity to go out there and make fun of Joe Biden. And then the other thing that I think is important to remember or to note is like, notice the flight of ideas, right? He never like, he will say one thing and then he'll just like skip topics and then just jump over to something else. It's constant. He's always just whatever. And they call it the weave, but it's like, this is another thing that is pretty indicative of him having cognitive issues, is that he can't stay on topic. after that, he starts talking more about healthcare. And of course, no Trump rally would be complete without a healthy dose of racism. So here, let's take a look at that.
The current Unaffordable Care Act, commonly known as Barack Hussein Obamacare, was created to make insurance companies rich. It was bad health care at much too high a cost, and you see now that the steep increase in premiums, it's being demanded by the Democrats. Again, I want the money to go directly to the people so you could buy your own health care, and you'll get much better health care at a much lower price.
Okay, guys, so the Unaffordable Care Act, Obamacare, Barack Hussein Obamacare, right? Guys, this is a right-wing healthcare plan. It was thought up by the Heritage Foundation, and then it was implemented by Mitt Romney, and then Barack Obama basically copied that and did that instead of doing a universal healthcare system. So, but this is a right-wing healthcare plan that they have been against ever since a Democrat passed it, and they've tried to cut it to ribbons and make it not work. And the reason that premiums are going up is because they keep trying to cut it and make it more and more unaffordable for people. So when more people don't pay into the system, it raises the price on everybody else because of the fact that you have less people in the system. So it's completely stupid. And also, let's not forget, Trump still does not have a healthcare plan. He's been saying for 10 years, I'm going to have it in like 2 weeks. And I think he rolled out something in his first term called Trump Care, and I kid you not, I think it had like a 7% approval rating. It was that bad. And now his new plan is, I'm just going to give money straight to the people, and they're going to go and buy their own health insurance. Like, yeah, an individual is going to negotiate with multi-billion-dollar insurance companies to get their own healthcare plan. It's completely absurd, and it just highlights how little Trump actually knows about how this works. So like I said, he's going on and on about how, like healthcare sucks and I'm fixing everything, even though they've literally made it worse. And the Republicans' whole thing with the shutdown was that they did not want to extend the ACA subsidies for premiums, and everybody's premiums are now going to double and triple and quadruple. And that's not the same as Trump saying, like, I've cut things by 300, 400, 500%. That's real, right? That part is real. Without that subsidy money going in, people's insurance premiums are going to skyrocket. Then he goes on to talk about how he's America first and how much he hates transgender people. Here, let's take a look.
We had men playing in women's sports, transgender for everybody, crime at record levels, the worst trade deals ever made. And our country was laughed at from all over the world, but they're not laughing anymore. 1 year ago, our country was dead. Now we are the hottest country anywhere in the world because we finally have a president who puts America first. The last administration and their allies in Congress looted our treasury for trillions of dollars, driving up prices on everything at unprecedented levels. How about the new thing in Minnesota with the Somalians?
Yeah, so Trump, America First president, what it looks like to be America First is giving billions and billions of dollars to Israel, giving billions of dollars to bail out Argentina, while at the same time screwing over the American farmers, because the American soybean farmers who were supposed to have a giant crop that they ship to China, and China buys from us every single year. Trump starts a trade war with China. They say, all right, fine, we're not going to buy American soybeans anymore. And guess where they go? They go and buy them from Argentina. So you bail out Argentina's failing economy because they're run by Milei, who is like a anarcho-capitalist fucking moron. Okay, he's wrecked Argentina. Trump decides, I'm going to bail out my friend in Argentina, and at the same time, China's giving their soybean business to Argentina. Really America first. But also, you got to remember that America first means cutting SNAP benefits, cutting Medicare, cutting Medicaid, cutting Social Security, cutting FEMA. All of these things are really about America first, right? Getting rid of government jobs so that people are now they're now unemployed. And then he gets into this is really funny. Later on, he gets into how him cutting government jobs is affecting inflation, but I'll get to that part in a second. He goes on to talk about how, like, the last administration looted the treasury. Again, this is the most corrupt administration regime that we have ever seen, and it's not even close. And Trump is using the government to enrich himself every single day. Whether we're talking about him getting a jet from Qatar and then, like, using government money to retrofit it to make it into Air Force One, which he's then going to keep the jet after he's not president anymore. Whether it is his son, Don Jr., is, like, a part of some company that just scored a $600 million federal contract. Like, that's not looting the treasury. Whether it's Elon Musk literally using Doge to loot the treasury and go through and get rid of any kind of agency that was looking into him. He's used government money for pretty much everything, whether we're talking about Tesla or SpaceX. It's unbelievable that he can make these claims. And it just goes to show you how little his supporters actually know about what he's currently doing. That he can go out there and say this with a straight face. But you got to remember that, like, you cannot hypocrisy shame somebody like Donald Trump. He doesn't care. Then he goes on to talk about, like, his cognitive health, his physicals, and how he released all of the tests because he thinks that every president should do that. Here, let's take a look.
First day in 28 days, these people are sick. That's why I've taken more physicals, because I think you have an obligation to, report. And I hate when they put out false reports. So they put out a report that Donald Trump. So I took a lot of physicals. And I did something no other president's ever done. I took cognitive tests. Because I know that, and by the way, not easy. You get to those last questions, those last 10, 15 questions, nobody on that stand could answer probably any of them. And I got him, I aced him. And no other president's taken a cognitive. Could you imagine Sleepy Joe taking a cognitive test?
So here he is, admitting that he's taken 3 cognitive exams this year alone, okay? 1, nobody takes cognitive exams 3 times in 1 year to prove how smart they are, how cognitively competent they are. The reason he keeps taking this cognitive exam is because they're worried about his cognitive capabilities. People who aren't worried about their mental faculties deteriorating aren't constantly taking cognitive exams. And as far as his physicals go, he's talking about an annual physical that he's had twice now. So, semi-annual physical, right? Not a physical, but, like, we still know shockingly little about Trump's actual health because the most transparent administration in the history of the United States will not actually release his medical records, okay? All we have are statements from the White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, saying that Trump is in fantastic health or whatever, but they won't actually release the medical records. Just like they didn't actually release how bad it was when Trump had COVID. Just like they didn't release the fact that Trump got apparently shot in the ear in Butler, but there's never any medical record of that. And if you look at pictures of him now, there's no scar. So, I mean, he never releases anything. He just brags about how much he releases, but it's all garbage. It's all nonsense. He hasn't released anything. People don't know anything. And then this one was really funny. Like I said earlier, he talks about getting rid of government jobs and how it affects inflation. Here, take a look.
While tens of thousands of new jobs under Biden were government jobs. They were government jobs. I could do that right now. You saw today we had 4.5% inflation. That's because I'm letting go of tremendous numbers of government workers. We're replacing them.
Okay, this I don't think needs any explanation. Cutting jobs does not equal more inflation. Cutting government jobs doesn't mean that you get higher inflation. And also, he spent the entire rally talking about how we have the lowest inflation ever, but he's talking about how there's a 4.5% inflation, even though like earlier he's talking about how it's less than 3% or it's no percent. He cannot keep it together. He cannot keep one coherent thought together. But cutting government jobs doesn't equal inflation. Inflation is when you have more dollars chasing less things. And the inflation in this case is 100% attributed to Trump's tariffs. Like the inflation that everybody's complaining about is attributed to the tariffs, whether you're talking about the price of coffee going up. I mean, for me, I buy coffee from Costco. I think it used to be like $12 a bag, and now it's closer to 20. Whether you're talking about beef, the price of beef, like we grow a lot of, I mean, we have a lot of cattle in this country, but we also import a lot from other countries like Brazil. And, so that affects it. Or whether you're talking about like electronics that are coming in from overseas or whatever it is, like that is what's causing price increases, not Trump cutting over 250,000 government jobs. It's complete nonsense. And then obviously no Trump rally would be complete without him making a bunch of random noises and talking about something that has nothing to do with anything. Here, let's take a look.
But I do look at the arm of a chair, and I'd say to your artists, they were artists, they were artisans, I'd say, no, can you give a different curve? Can you do a little more carving at the end? They would right in front of me, bing, 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 bing. They were like geniuses.
Okay, so he's talking about like how right before this he's talking about how he doesn't care about the way women looks, but he really cares about the way an armchair looks. I don't even know what to say to this. Like, why is he talking about armchairs? Why? It's because this dude's brain is falling out of his ears. And like he does the little bing bong boom. He's just, this guy is the president of the biggest economy in the world and the most powerful military in the world. And he's doing rallies where he's talking about armchairs. I can't anymore. I think the best antidote really at this point is just to laugh, because like you have to make fun of these people. They're so silly. They're so incompetent. They're so corrupt. And until the Democrats are actually able to take back power and prosecute these people for the countless crimes that they've done, we have to continue dealing with this kind of nonsense. And so our best solution is just to laugh at them. Anyway, let me know what you guys thought. Like and subscribe to the channel if you made it this far. Leave me a comment down below, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.